Have you ever thought that you give the most perfect and logical advice only to see the person across the table from you completely shuts down? I guarantee you this happens to a lot of new managers and it can be really frustrating. And in this video, I want to show you something that I call the USB-C rule. And it's an advice to make sure your feedback lands properly. Hey everyone, my name is Mihnea. I'm not a professional coach. I'm an engineer that I worked for the last 6 years into the automotive industry. And I have to say, I seen firsthand where this perfectly technical feedback is missed. I started in my own way to be frustrated about this, and this led me towards something called the process communication model that explain exactly those kinds of interaction and basically help us to establish the connection between us and how to communicate with each other's languages. I really like this methodology, and in this video I want to share with you a couple of ideas which I think are going to help you and myself eventually to establish better connection with our colleagues and our friends. And okay, if you're still with me, I want us to do a imagination exercise. Picture the following thing. You are Alex, let's say. You are a brand new manager. You're brilliant. You were great in your field. You still are. And you have your one-to-one with one of your most brilliant engineers. Let's call her Maria. And you start to give her feedback about some work she did, and you start to point out every logical flaw, every technical misalignment that she had in her scenario. And I'm pretty sure in your head you think, oh my God, I'm doing a great job. It's great. Like, yeah, what can be wrong? I'm telling her exactly what needs to be improved, and from here we move on, we're efficient, and we solve the problem quickly. But while you look at Maria, something happens. You see her shoulders dropped a bit. Her voice is starting to become really low, and she kind of gets disengaged. And you eventually leave your meeting, and all of a sudden you think, like, yeah, there's for sure nothing wrong with my approach. I gave her the right problems, and she needs to fix this, and this, and then we have a good project, or a good product, or a good report. Doesn't matter. But I can tell you that you had the wrong communication channel. Imagine this. You are trying to have data on a USB-A flash drive, and you are trying to connect this USB-A flash drive into a new laptop that only has USB-C ports. I guess now you see where we're going through. Your data on the flash drive is perfect, it's flawless, but you cannot transfer it. So it's not about the content, it's about how you're communicating it with your colleague. This brings us to the core problem of this video. You are treating the human connection as a simple information transfer, and I'm pretty sure maybe this will work once or twice, but it will not guarantee your success or the success of the people in your team. And your job as a leader is not to be right, is to be effective, is to try to encourage them to be the better version of themselves. And one way you can do this is to communicate with them on their own language. And again, I'm not talking about linguistics. And to do that, I want to present a simple rule that I call, and for the sake of this video, the USB-C rule. And it has 2 steps. In the first part, you need to diagnose their channel. And what I mean by this is, before you say anything in your previous discussions with them, you need to analyze their communication tone. Are they being analytical? Are they being emotional? They can be direct. Or are they being playful? Hey, making some jokes here and there when you talk with them. You have to understand their current state. You wouldn't want, obviously, to talk with a stressed out junior engineer like you talk with someone which has 10-15 years of experience, right? this will not be beneficial for either of them. Probably if you decide to ignore all of this, you'll think, yeah, but he needs to figure it out, right? Unfortunately, we're human, so we don't work like that. I think if you want to have success, it's best first to match their communication channel. And once you do this, you will see things start to move in the direction that you hope. And point number 2 is to try to discover their currency. So what they exchange in their communication. And to do this, you also need to pay attention to what do they value most in this moment. And it can be people who value currency like data and logic, can be compassion and reassurance. It can be just a direct action. Go do this report for me. For some people, can be perfectly good. Some people can want some playful contact. You don't need to tickle each other, but just make some jokes here and there. It's totally fine. Let's go back a bit to Maria's example, right? Do you think now, with this kind of information, that Maria was striving on a mountain of logic and data? No, from her, in this case, a bit non-verbal behavior, she dropped her shoulders, her voice started to become really low. I'm pretty sure that in this case, Maria wanted compassion and reassurance. So one way you could approach the conversation is first to talk a bit about her as a person. Tell her that you appreciate her being part of the team, not her work. You need to appreciate her as a person. And you will see that she will start to build up some energy, and she will get back on track. But by giving her a mountain of data and logics and information, this will not help her. It will not benefit either of you, unfortunately. What do you think of the USB-C rule? It's pretty simple, right? But it requires you to do one fundamental thing right. You need to pause and listen, which is crazy, I know. And first, before your next session, before you give your feedback to one of your team members, pause and try to establish first the communication. Basically, how you try to connect to an ECU in a car. When you plug in the OBD port, you first need to establish some communication, right? And first, you need to analyze the channel that they are communicating and what kind of currency they are exchanging and what's most valuable for them in that moment. And I guarantee you, if you do those two things, your brilliant and logic technical feedback will land 100% next time. And you will stop just being right, and you finally will become to be effective, and you will see how the whole dynamic will change. You will be much more relaxed in your meetings because it's new for you as well. And also you will see how your teammates will start to enjoy working more and more with you, because you're not doing much. You're just communicating with them how they expected, right? If I manage and succeeded to make you slightly a bit more interested in those kind of frameworks and communication and leadership, consider dropping a like, subscribe to the channel if you like, and I'll continue to post this kind of information until we cover the complete PCM model basis to basis. And I think it will be an amazing journey for both of us. Thanks.